Okay, it is 6:30, so I will call the meeting to order, and we will start with a pledge of allegiance. Moving on to roll call, Mayor Karatsky, I am present. Groko?
Present.
Kufal?
Present.
Padilla is absent tonight. Rose?
Present.
And Eager. Here. Okay. We have a couple changes to the agenda tonight. Do you want to explain those now or later?
Now would be,
Okay, go up.
so proposing that we would remove from the agenda under new business items 11A and 11B, and then also down on item number 14, the closed meeting, that we would remove that item as well. That's relating to 11B. The reason for this is this was in reference to our proposed agreement with Frondines Dirt Pile to remove that. Actually, the owners had signed the agreement, which is in your packet. We unfortunately have to take a step back. The low areas that we're looking to fill in, as you know, abut up to the ditch, and there's the potential that that might have been wetland at one time. Because it's such a low area and its proximity to the ditch, talking with Sibley County Soil and Water, they are asking us to do a level 1 wetland delineation study. We did a similar study when we put in the pond out there by the compost site. We were required to do it then as well. So basically at this point, just looking to put this on hold, step back, and we need to finish this first and find out if there are any wetlands, or originally if there was any wetlands. I understand it's been used for cropland for many years, but it's possible that there might have been wetlands there at some point in time, and if there was, we will likely have to address that.
Why is the county not bringing this up till now? We've had these lots for plenty of time, and now that we want to sell them and have somebody interested, it's just frustrating that the county's gonna come in now and basically slow us down.
Well, actually, the county didn't, I called them, and, this is what they do, this is what their role is, and so, they went out and looked at it, and based on what they're seeing, they feel that they can't make a call or make a judgment on it as it is right now, and that's why they're requesting the study be done. In some respects, if we got into the construction project, and they would have the right to come in there and do the same thing, and that could create a problem. That ultimately would have created a problem for us. So they have that authority to be able to do that.
So what if what if it's found that there were wetlands there at one point? Is it, then the project's done, or?
Well, we'd have to talk about that. There are, under state law, there are options. You can mediate the wetlands. Generally means, what that means is you have to replace them on a 2-to-1 ratio, or you can buy wetland credits that would be available out on the market too. So either way, it's going to be a cost, an additional cost then.
Who pays for this study? And how long does it take?
This is our property, so we would be basically responsible for that. I've asked Justin Black to get me a schedule. He didn't know off the top. He's got other people that work on these kind of things, so he'll be getting back to me with that information, and as far as the cost as well.
I just don't get why a county ditch has been there for how long, and now, the county ditch can do whatever the county wants, but then we come in and they want to make us do this.
I don't ever remember there being water in there, so if it's 50 years ago that there's wetlands there, now all of a sudden it's gonna be an issue, potentially.
Can we move ahead anyways?
We could, but I guess at this point I wouldn't recommend it. We're only in February here.
I get it.
We've got time. The construction season's a number of months away yet, so we just need to complete this, and then we should be ready for the construction season, but we just need to do this to make sure that the property is clear of that.
So how come we have to pay for it if it's the county that's worried about it? You approach them, and now they want us to do the study to determine if there were wetlands there at one point. So they do that to everybody in the county, but it's up to the
It's
property
the
rights to
landowner,
determine.
yeah, it's the landowner's responsibility, right?
Even though the county delineated any wetlands with their county ditch. So,
I-
so this is what I'm saying though, is it's just frustrating, because it's already been drained, you know.
It's
already-
what?
It's any wetlands that were there, the county's already
By putting that ditch
destroyed, they
through.
put in the ditch in.
Well, I don't know how long the ditch has been there, how it,
Well, I don't know, you guys are older than me, I mean, those ditches are 50-plus years old, those were before you guys were around, right? I mean,
I didn't pay any attention
I
to
was gonna say,
wetlands back in.
there's been ditches all my life, so,
I have no idea.
well, I guess it is what it is, but it's just frustrating. The county wants stuff getting built in county, but then all the stuff comes up right the last, final hour.
yeah, trust me, I share your frustration.
Any other questions on that? Otherwise, we'll look for a motion to approve tonight's agenda with the removal of 11A, 11B, and 14A.
So moved.
We have a motion from Eker. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Rose. Any further discussion?
Just one more, would this be something that comes up in a future, council meeting to have this study done? I mean, do you have to get prices together, or is this something that you'll just take care of?
I guess depending on what the cost would be, I mean, if the consensus is to move ahead with it, if, say it's under 5,000, which is my spending limit, if you're okay with that, then I'll just go ahead and get it done, get moving on it. Otherwise, if you choose to want it to come back and have Justin be here, he is planning on being here at our March 4th meeting anyway. So if you would like him to come and just present their proposal as far as what they're doing, that's an option as well.
Because I were out to March, and then probably that'll take till April at least, and in May.
Just look at the study and see what.
If it's under your spending limit, I guess. I
Yeah,
don't
if it's
care.
under the 5, I guess I would, if we have to get it done.
Yeah, well, I think
Yeah.
you have consensus on that.
If it's under, yeah, if it's under 5, just take care of it.
Okay.
Just let us know, I guess.
Yes, well, definitely.
Okay, moving on to comments, updates, and concerns. Did we vote on that?
No.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Now we'll move on to comments, updates, and concerns. Any updates from citizens? There are none here. Council members? City staff? Okay. Move on to the consent agenda, and I will take a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Groko, seconded by Eker. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Communication requests and petitions, we have lots of things going on at the library this month. Bingo in Winthrop, Cancer Fighters, Get Cozy and Read event, adult craft night at the library, the pancake breakfast for the fire department on March 15th, and the senior center newsletter. Committees, Ty's not here, is he? Or,
No.
under department and committee reports, Ty's not here, is he?
No,
Okay.
he doesn't have any updates.
So no updates, so we can skip that and move to new business. So first on our agenda is 11C, Resolution 2026-7, calling a public hearing on the intention to issue general capital improvement bonds and the proposal to adopt a capital improvement plan therefore.
So this is in respect to the Public Works Building project that's planned for this year. The way, you know, we've talked about it, given the size of the project and the cost, we are looking at bonding for this particular project. And the way the bonds are structured, or where this falls in as far as the bonds, what's allowed, this is considered a capital project. So buildings of this nature fall under that kind of category. So one of the things that's required with a capital plan bonds is that we actually have to hold a hearing approving a capital improvement plan specific to this project. And so the resolution in your packet is just for that, calling for the hearing for March 4th meeting. Northland Securities, George Iverson will be here for that meeting to go over the bonds and stuff and explain, again, the capital improvement plan bonds. There is a letter in your packet from him that just does go into a little bit of explanation as far as what's required under Minnesota statute for this. The one thing I just want to mention here is that when this is down, I'm looking at his letter, this is on page 256 of your packet. Under item number 1, kind of towards the end, he does mention a 15-year general obligation bond, basically a term of 15 years. Now, that's something the council has not talked about or set yet at this point in time. You don't have to set that tonight, and I don't have any like sample amortization schedules for you to look at, so you know kind of what we'd be looking at as far as a tax increase. So right now, I think we'd be looking at about a 6.5 if we did a 6-year, or excuse me, a 15-year. So that would be about that. But we still have to get the final estimate from SEH on the project. So right now, tentatively, Justin is planning on being at the meeting on March 4th to present the Public Works building design, and then also asked authorization to go out for bids at that point in time. I do have one change that I would like to make. In my request for council action, I mentioned that this would be a $1.6 million project, and that was the last estimate that we received from SEH. I do have to be a little careful with that number, because once we advertise the public hearing and we advertise it, in the advertisement it says 1.6 million. We cannot go higher than that. Otherwise, we basically have to start over with the process. We can go lower, we can go something less than 1.6 in our estimate again for the hearing purposes, but we can't be higher. And so what I'd recommend after talking with Justin is that we would just simply change that to 1.8. Again, it's just an estimate. It's not the final cost. We bid it out, that'll be the final cost, whatever the lowest bid is. So this is just the protection, so we don't lose something here and lose some time. And I think as we get closer to the end of this month, Justin might be able to share some numbers, an update with us. We're going to be meeting in a couple weeks with them, and we'll get an update then. But there will be a resolution at that March 4th meeting, and we'll probably adjust the number accordingly. But I would ask that I could change that to 1.8 for advertisement purposes. It's in the resolution as the Exhibit A is where it talks about that. That's where it identifies the amount. So I understand it's a larger number, but it's just to make sure that we're not going to have to backtrack this whole thing.
It seems kind of backwards to me, because to me, it's telling the contractors, here's what we got to work with.
Excuse me.
To me, it's kind of backwards, because in my eyes, it's telling the contractors what we have to work with. So if you bump it up to 1.8, they could come in and say, oh, we got 1.8 million here. The bid could come in at 1 point, just
Well-
straight under. I mean, it's kind of giving them a number of what we're looking to spend is the way I see it.
Well, again, we'll get an update at our next meeting. So it's going to be something less than that.
At the end of the day, too, I mean, as we keep expanding our budget for the project. When we started out,
know.
it seems like every time we talk about this, it goes up by 100,000.
I know.
I mean, in Abdo's report, it's at like 1.53. Now, kind of agreeing with Scott, is our budget's 1.6. Just leave it at 1.6. I get what you're saying, but if we can't afford it, we can't afford it. We might as well make it 2.5.
I understand.
It just means it's over.
Until we bid it out, we
and
won't know
probably
for
bigger
sure.
than what we need anyways.
Until we bid it out, we won't know for sure. And, that's just an estimate. That's the engineer's estimate. Oftentimes, we get bids that are well under that estimate. I'm kind of anticipating we'll get some good bids on this.
I know what you're
Given the
saying,
nature of the
just-
project,
Like I said, we just keep pushing our ceiling.
I know.
So you need a motion?
Yeah,
Or is there any
we
more
need a
discussion?
Yeah, there is that resolution number 26-06, and I, again, request that you make that one change in Exhibit A.
And at the end of the day, I mean, if our bids come back at 1.8, we don't have to move forward at that time, right?
Correct.
I mean, if we
Yeah,
think we got a way high
absolutely.
bid.
Absolutely. I've said similar words to Justin already as well.
Any more questions?
So we're looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2026-06.
I'll make that motion with the adjustment from 1.6 up to 1.8.
We have a motion by Rose. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Eker. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Moving on to 11D, we have Flaherty and Hood, Public Labor, Employment, and Human Resource Services proposal.
As I stated in my request for action sheet there, our current attorney that has assisted us with our union negotiations with the police department has notified us last fall specifically that he is stepping back from labor negotiation. He's shared that basically he's kind of at that retirement age, and he's kind of stepping back from some things that he normally have done in the past. So that triggered me to start researching and trying to find somebody to assist us. And truthfully, the firm that came to mind was a firm that I've worked with before, and I know that the League of Minnesota Cities has as well. They're a pretty reputable firm called Flaherty and Hood out of St. Paul. So I did meet with them, and basically they've provided a letter in here with their rates and their services. I guess when I'm looking at this, as far as looking at an attorney to represent us and labor negotiations, some of the things I think about as far as what I'm looking for in an attorney is, first of all, I guess, experience. What's their background? How, what have they done in the past? What's their reputation? What's their knowledge about, contracts that have settled? Where are they at on that kind of stuff? What's their background as far as HR is concerned? You have to generally have a pretty strong background in HR. So those are some of the things that I consider, and I know even before I asked myself these questions that I knew Flaherty and Hood met those. The one thing I would point out that their fee structure is more than what we've paid in the past. Their attorney here, what they propose is $230 an hour. What we were paying before was like $150 an hour. So it's just something to be aware of. They are a bigger firm. You're getting we'd be getting the advantage of, they have 19 attorneys on staff. Not that we'd be working with all of those, of course, but they have that kind of a firm where they have a lot of resources within their firm. So with that, I guess I'll open it up to any questions.
Is it possible to sit down with a PD and see if they're, this whole union thing came about how many years ago because of the prior administration here at the city that really threw the PD under the bus. And to protect themselves, and I think since then, things have been pretty good with the police department in the city. So I don't know what they're getting, what their benefits are right now for them being union versus if they would not be union and just go back to the way it was and not have to worry about contracts with them. And is that a possibility?
I'm not a labor attorney, so certainly probably not something that we really want to have too much of a discussion about or even allude to in an open meeting, because there's something called labor violations, and you don't want the perception that we're pressuring the police union to dissolve. And so I certainly understand the pragmatic standpoint that you're asking the question. There are certain routes that you can take within the context of a labor negotiation to see, is this even working? But you want to be really careful about that. So I think probably the first step is going to be finding a new labor attorney. And then once we retain them, which Flaherty and Hood is who I do my employment referrals to. That was what Steve and I were talking about, that, you kind of go with the experience and a good-sized practice group that has the experience and the track record to handle this, and from there they can put together a plan that kind of addresses, how do we approach this next round? And if that's an objective, is making sure all of this serves the purposes, the stated purposes, then that's probably something that should come from the labor attorney. But I guess my take on this is that labor negotiations are very specific, especially public sector, very specific kind of subset of the law. It's very specialized, kind of all people that do that, it's all they do. They're labor lawyers. And so to go to a place that has a bench strength, a handful of attorneys that can service, there would be, sounds like one attorney that's kind of the point person. But so much of it comes down to knowing like what is market rate for a collective bargaining agreement? What is a reasonable term here, a reasonable term there? And if you're not handling a high volume of those cases, then you just don't have the same insight as a group this size. So I always, on stuff like this, sort of trend towards a little bigger practice group, because they're gonna have all of those attorneys working on all those different files, and that is their knowledge base, that is their context for how they approach our next negotiation. So with that, you deal with a little bigger organization, a little more overhead. They're a little far-flung in St. Paul, but that's kind of the trade-off, is that they're a little bit more expensive, but you hope that you get that back in the outcome that you want, essentially.
I think what Scott's, correct me if I'm wrong, it just might be easy, when you're working directly with our own local cops rather than having somebody else with their hand in the cookie jar. And like Scott said, we've gotten rid of some of the administration on the city hall side, and even some of the officers that were causing issues at the police side. So maybe now we just don't have the problem and are able to work together.
Right,
So
and
that's-
I guess just finding out from them if that's an option. If they say, no, we want, and then I'm fine with that. I'm just curious where things are, because for all those years, they weren't unionized. And then because of the way the conditions, they decided to do it, and is it benefiting them to this point? And I guess I'm just curious on that, if it's something that's necessary and that they're still interested in. If they are, they are. I'm not looking to push them out of it, just kind of curious if it's worth it.
Well, at this point, by choosing a new attorney, we're not out anything. We're not spending any money or anything like that. And it's on the union to provide us notice to renegotiate the existing contract, which expires at the end of this year. At this point in time, we have not received any notice.
Yeah, and I'm not opposed to going with someone. I'm just kind of curious if we can kind of just look at that as to see if it's a benefit for both sides yet at this point.
Is there a way we can even do that?
That was
It's
kind of
so
what I was
tricky.
saying, is that it's really tricky to try and navigate that without an attorney that can tell you, like, are we committing a labor violation by, even asking, essentially. So it's definitely not something that we want to be talking about, back channeling, so to speak. But if that's something that the council, what staff want to at least, want to put through its paces, then that can be part of the directive with whomever we go with as an attorney. And frankly, I don't really know a whole lot about this area, but I would think that anytime you're dealing with a new client, new contract like this, you would at least ask, like, is this necessary anymore? Which I think is kind of what you're saying. Like, at what
Right.
point do we assess, like, does everybody assess, like, is this necessary? So,
And if we have to go through these guys to do that, I'm fine with that. I just want to get to that point, like you said, is it necessary to have that union, or are they still comfortable with that? Is that what they want?
Is there a big price difference of these guys versus, obviously this is probably our only choice, having these guys for.
As far as compared to possibly other firms? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
asking?
did you reach out to anybody else, or is
Nope.
this just?
Honestly, I only reached out to them, just basically because my experience, Mark's experience, I know that they get used by the league, so I just know that they're very good.
Is there any cost, unless they're used?
Right, it's just like no different than using, Mark, there's no per diem or anything like that.
Well, Mark, you like them?
yeah, this is who I refer, this is who, we've worked with on the city level on, other employment stuff. This is who I work with through other cities that I represent. And, frankly, like they're frail humans, so it's not perfect at every moment, but they've always delivered pretty good results. So I haven't really seen a reason to move away from them. And to be clear, what the firm that used to represent the city is kind of a unicorn, so to speak. Like, a small firm with, very experienced, sophisticated, competent lawyers. That isn't, you see a lot less of those in these really specialized areas. It's more of like little bigger practice groups like this. So realistically, if we were out shopping it, like, we would be soliciting bids, I guess, from a bunch of different firms that look exactly like this and are likely gonna be at about the same practice point. And frankly, if it comes down to like a cost thing, I mean, that's relevant and meaningful, but in terms of like all the other things that are harder to quantify, it's tough to get insight into that. Like, what is their experience? Are they just window dressing with a bunch of lawyers on it? Are they know what they're talking about? Maybe other firms would, but I just can't speak to it because I haven't worked with a lot of firms on employment stuff other than Flaherty and Hood.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve Flaherty and Hood understanding the terms of service.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Groko, seconded by Kufal. Any further discussion or questions?
At some point, I did ask, the person who would represent us is willing to come out for a meeting. If you'd like to do that sometime in the future here, or if you want to wait for the union to give us what they're looking at as far as what their proposal is for maybe the renewal, that might be at a good introduction time too, or we could do it sooner than that. It's really up to you.
A meeting
would
with
say-
us or with you?
With you. I've already met him,
Yeah.
so it'd be with you.
I'd say wait.
Just wait.
Yeah, I agree. Any other thoughts? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Moving on to 11E, we have the construction agreement for CASA 21 13th Improvement Project.
So this is a proposed contract between the city and the county. As you know, this project is a partnership. We each have components of this project. Ours is primarily water and sewer. The county is going to be repaving the roadway. There's also some storm sewer improvements that we will be splitting the cost on. The county is responsible for the roadway itself. The county in this agreement, because of the amount that the county is going to be responsible for as far as the project, their majority of the project is going to be their responsibility. And because of that, they are recommending that they would be basically the party that would ultimately enter a contract with a successful bidder. And so they would basically be handling all that. Normally, from my understand, is when it's a city-county project, they like the city to act in that capacity, to do that lead, to be that lead, because we're the city, it's in our community. But in this case, they're suggesting that they would do that, and that's what the contract is. It does state in the agreement here too that the city will be approving the low bid or the successful bid as well, so it'll be both parties that would approve that. That's on page 5 of the agreement. I don't remember. It's page 272 of your packet. Right now, talking with Tim Becker, he would like to wait a little bit yet before bidding out the project. He is applying for some state funding. He won't know until, I think, early spring, and he would like then, at that point, to bid out the project, one way or the other. So we'd like to try it one more time, one more go around as far as trying to get some additional funding for the project. And the agreement basically starts whenever the agreement is approved, and it ends when the project is done, when it closes out. There are still, the city is responsible for doing like the final design plans, the as-built, so to speak. So at the end of the project, our engineer would do those. I think that's all I have, so I'll open it up to any questions. So this was obviously drafted by the county.
Who's in charge of the payments, contractor payments? I mean, if,
That'll be the county. So since they're the ones that are gonna be entering the contract with the bidder or the contractor, they will be the one to be administering all the payments. So FCH will probably put them together, but they'll go through the county for approval and then payment. And then they will, in turn, invoice the city for our portion of the cost.
So these areas that we're responsible for providing inspection services, if we find something that the city doesn't like, it's not gonna be an issue holding back payments if the county wants to pay on other parts of the project.
Right. Yeah, they're on a contract, so they're gonna be having to make the payments, so any, I guess,
I guess I'm saying I don't wanna see payments go out if there's issues that the city has, and then all of a sudden a payment goes out
Oh,
because the county
I see what
sent it out, when
Yeah.
we got a problem with part of the work that was done under that portion.
I understand what you're saying, and that's where we need to communicate. So we'll be overseeing our portions of the project, specifically the water and sewer, so we'll be having our inspector, which would be SCH, out there in the field. The county's gonna be having their own staff, their public works staff, doing the observation or inspection of the roadway, et cetera.
So theoretically, we should know if there's an issue prior to the county making payment,
Right,
because Justin or
we'll have somebody out
Brody
there
or
in the
whoever will
field.
be letting us know.
Yeah, we'll have somebody in the field there representing us.
If there aren't any other questions, we are looking for a motion to approve the construction agreement with Sibley County for the CASA 21 13th Street Improvement Project.
So move.
Motion from Kufal,
Second.
seconded by Rose. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Moving on to 11F, we have Resolution 2026-7, a 2026 employee compensation correction.
Yes, at the last council meeting in January, the council did approve Resolution 2026-05, which basically set the compensation levels for all the staff. And I made a couple errors in here, and I tried to explain it in my request for council action. But basically, both of them, these are both actually part-time people at the library. They're both library assistants. One of them happens to still be on probation, so they would not be entitled to any increase. But they, are with the minimum wage laws changing, with the minimum wage going up effective January 1, that did have an impact a little bit on our salary chart. And because of that, I did have to make an adjustment for 2026 to bring us into compliance, specifically under grade 1. So I had to change the step 1 to make sure that we were at least at the minimum, starting, meeting the minimum wage level. So our new salary chart, which the council actually approved already, 1141 is the minimum wage, and that's our grade 1, step 1. And so we need to at least pay all of our employees that level, or at least have that starting. And so the chart was adjusted, and I just simply missed it. It was, again, my error. But basically, Deb Eaker would be basically moving step 2 change, or grade 2 change on step 1 to 1183 with the new chart. So she should be going from 1141 to 1183. And again, Amy Bell, just how we had it last year, as you can kind of see the chart changed, but she's still on probation. So under our personnel policy, if you're on probation on January 1, you are not entitled to COLA increase or a step increase. So until, basically, she has to wait till next year for a raise. So I'm asking for those. So I put in there on page 284 of your packet, Resolution 2026-07, to make those corrections.
I'm just curious, why do we hold back on that COLA increase? The reason I ask is because it's, at the end of the day, it's a cost of living across all grades, so it's not really a raise for one person. Because if you hire somebody in December, they're stuck at that for 6 months versus, or a year, whatever,
Whole year.
their probation, a year, versus if you hire somebody literally 3 weeks later in January, that person gets the pay bump and not the first one. So why, I just don't know why the probationary period COLA shouldn't be affected by that. I could see not getting a bump in steps for 6 months, but just, it doesn't make any sense that, like I said, so if I get hired on December 30th and Scott gets hired on January 2nd, he gets a pay bump, I have to wait a year.
Yeah,
Just.
actually, in the past, the council's had that discussion, and they've elected to keep it the way they have it. Just, that's been the practice, and I think, I don't know all the history, but I know that this has at least come up at least one time since I've been here with the council, and it was the election of the council to keep it at that same language and approach.
It just, to me, seems odd, because like I said, you have one person that's not even on the chart for a year.
Just all comes down to when you're hired, your hiring date.
Okay. And then are we gonna have to adjust this again for the pool, just because your guest services are gonna be making more than your lifeguards?
Yeah, we'll have to, as a personnel committee, we generally look at that each year, so we'll be having that conversation.
Because grade one basically got a 15% bump compared to everybody else is at 3. You know, so I think it's gonna end up affecting more than grade one. It's gonna affect 2 and 3 probably. So,
We'll just have to look at it.
yeah, it just would be nice to fix it all at one shot instead of bringing it up at 3 different meetings.
What fun would that be?
Yep. So if there's nothing else, we're looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2026-07, 2026 employee compensation correction.
So moved.
We have a motion from Eager. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Groko. Any further comments or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
Aye.
Motion carried.
There's gotta be one black sheep in the group.
Your delayed reaction threw me off. Okay, so next we're moving on to 11G. We have our 2025 through 2030 financial plan.
So the council actually received a presentation on this back at the November 5th meeting last year. That was a draft at that time, and normally we approve this in December, but we've had such a large agenda, December and January for that matter, that we finally got this on to our agenda for your consideration. So this is the final draft, or the final, for the 2025, 2030 financial plan.
Does this account for the new water rates with the new tier system?
No,
So that,
because we didn't have those when they completed the plan. You can, on the first page there, it says January 5th, so we didn't have, that's when they completed everything. We didn't have them in there yet. So, no, it will not reflect out.
but next year it will.
Yeah. And to be honest, past years have been kind of a similar approach because we've approved this in December, and usually those rates don't get set until that first meeting in January.
Any other questions? Otherwise, we need a motion to adopt the 2025 through 2030 financial plan.
So move.
Second.
Motion from Rose, seconded by Eager. Any further discussion or questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. Next is 11G, or 11H. We need to schedule a special city council meeting regarding our Ridgeview ambulance service contract.
So proposed is to set this for 5:30, March 4th, right before our regular meeting. And items of discussion, discuss about the proposed mutual aid agreement with the city of Arlington, to talk about Bayside Manor calls, lift assists in general, and then also have another, talk about our planned remount of the 2008 ambulance rig. So Mark Anderson will be here, Sarah will probably be here as well.
I won't make that meeting.
I will not
Be
be
up
at
at
that meeting.
Ripley.
And Tony won't either, so we will not have a quorum.
Okay, would you like, if it's, I can check with them, that's a lot of people gone.
But
Okay.
even for our council meeting that night, like our,
You're missing 3, so yeah, we won't even have a quorum. Tony's already said he won't be here either, so 3 of you will be gone. Okay, I didn't know that. So.
I'll be here.
Well, we won't be able to meet,
I know.
Move forward.
unless, we can always
a
reschedule the meeting,
dictatorship.
potentially anyway. That would be an option to reschedule. Otherwise, we're also gonna be
Well,
only having
are
one
you
meeting.
gone, but for an extended period of time or just,
Yeah, we won't be back till the following week,
okay.
like the 7th or the 8th.
Could we but change that, just, I only say that because like with the Frownings thing, I mean, if we have to make a motion on that to move that along too, I mean, I'd hate to cancel it altogether and then we could push back to the end of March. I mean, it kind of, Ain't the greatest, but.
The only other time, that, the week of the 9th would be the only week during March that would work for me. 'Cause I'm gonna be up at Ripley a couple weeks in March, working the week of nights. So March is not good for me, other than that 1 week. If we wanted to reschedule or.
This impacts also our earlier motion on the resolution to set the public hearing. We'll have to go back now
Oh,
and make that adjustment. Yep.
could we, look at that last week in February?
Because we don't have, we're not
Do we have
planning
enough
a
notice
meeting
if
on the
we-
18th, right?
No, because we canceled our 18th meeting.
25th is fine for me.
Not for me,
Not for you?
no.
I gotta look here. What night, what are you thinking?
25th?
Wednesday, the 25th?
That should work for me, and Mondays that week.
I'm guessing not Tony though, correct?
I don't know.
Oh, if we got 3 of them, we're good.
Yeah.
As long as you get
Yeah,
four, you
so
need four.
And
That'll
we have
work.
enough time to reschedule everything, because what today?
Yes, we do.
Today's the
Um,
3rd.
We could do the hearing on the 25th. We have, it's a regular notice, so it's just 10 days, so we'd have to
Okay.
get it in the paper next week, and then we'd be okay.
Yeah, the 25th works for me.
That's a happy medium. We'll cancel the 18th and the 4th and do one in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
It works for Scott, Layton, Jessica, right? And me, we don't know about Tony. But we'd
Well,
still
Lynn-
have a quorum.
So you four, though, would be here. Lynn would
Mhm.
not. Okay. If you're comfortable with that.
I'm okay.
Will that work as far as getting answers, do you think, with Justin, as far as that dirt pile thing, too? Or do you think that'd be a little quick? I mean, I guess
Yeah,
if that gets
we'll-
pushed off, it's
I mean,
fine.
we'll
but-
have to. I mean, we'll do our best what we can do to get that information. I think, as far as the dirt pile, I'm pretty confident that he'll get that.
Yeah.
That's-
Or I
that's-
should say the
That's
low,
that's a couple
lying.
weeks out yet, and even the Public Works hearing, Public Works Building hearing, and he'll be able to have that presentation in time, because we're meeting with him in a couple weeks, so we'll just kind of speed it up a little bit, try to. We'll do what we have to do.
So then as far as this, should we just plan that, or do you want to cut this? I mean, as far as talking with
Why
Sarah?
don't we plan it? If need be, I'll cancel it, but right now, we would need a motion then for February 25th.
Okay, so we need a motion to schedule a special city council meeting for 5:30 PM on February 25th, 2026, for holding a work session with representatives of Ridgeview.
So move.
Second.
Motion from Rose, seconded by Eker. Any discussion or comments?
Everything from the 4th would be, that would have been on the 4th agenda, will be on the 25th then.
Yes.
Yes.
So we won't have a council meeting on the 4th?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say no. Motion carried.
So we will need to reschedule our
Yeah.
March 4th meeting to
So-
February 25th. So we'll need a motion for that.
Okay, so now we need a motion to schedule our regular meeting scheduled for March 4th to February 25th.
So move.
We have a motion from Kufal. Do we have a second?
I'll
Second.
second it.
Lynn can have it.
Seconded by Groko. Any discussion?
I'll still be at 6:30 then.
At 6:30, yep. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. And now we need to go back to 11C to reschedule our public hearing.
Yeah, Mark, so I need a little help. Would we basically be rescinding this original motion? Do the parties that made the motion need to do it again, or how does that work?
Yeah, so let's have whoever made the motion and second, make a motion and second to rescind the motion to set the public hearing, and then we make a new one.
Pardon me, the Exhibit A is part of that original resolution. So would they rescind the resolution approval and then go back and then do a new motion then to approve it, changing the date within the Exhibit A of that resolution.
Yeah, there's probably a couple ways we could do it, but that's probably the easiest to execute at this point on
Just
the fly.
rescind everything and start over.
That was
Yeah.
confusing, but
And then the new motion would, to approve the resolution would just have
Yep.
different,
so whoever made the motions, Lori?
I'll make a motion to rescind the motion to have
To approve that resolution. basically.
resolution.
Yeah, to approve that resolution.
Second.
So we have a motion from Rose to rescind the motion for Resolution 2026-7, seconded by Eager. Any further discussion or questions?
So we're rescinding the approval of that
Yes.
resolution.
Yep. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. Now we need a motion to,
We need a motion to approve the
Approve.
same resolution
yep.
with the changes to Exhibit A in the resolution, setting the public hearing for February 25th, and also changing the dollar amount, the estimated value of the improvement from 1.6 million to 1.8 million.
Anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Rose. Do we have a second?
Second.
Go ahead, Jessica.
Seconded by Jessica. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried.
I was waiting for you to repeat it.
I was going to, I actually took some notes. I was going to, and then I pulled up my old one, but. Okay, anything else? Closing comments by council or staff? We need a motion to adjourn.
So,
Motion by Eager.
Second.
Seconded by Kufal. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried.